Well, what is this? It's a bonus stream, apparently. So, no promises about the length. But I want to do another friendly. And maybe also, get rid of some dead wood. Which reminds me, we were climbing today. I'm totally sore, like everywhere. Or I will be tomorrow. So, in case there's some tiredness involved here, that's where this comes from. Alright. First of all, let's have a look. How many friendlies will there be? On Panther and Cumbrian Celtic. I think it's Cumbrian. Or whatever it's pronounced. And afterwards there is a short break. That's not bad. So for those that we need to be ready to play, we need to get them fixed now. If we can do that, that is. Yeah, let's see. On Panther went down last season. They are no longer listed as a league opponent anywhere. So that's fine. They will not play. Which reminds me, do we know about their player base? Perfect hunting ground. Clubs that just went down. Well, apparently we don't know about most of them. What a shame. Okay. I also wanted to look at this. So in the defensive formation, we kind of assumed that there will be an inverted winger on attack duty. I kind of like the effect from a tactical point of view. For Moody, this is the wrong wing. Well, we could play him as a winger on attack duty there. So that's not the worst of it. He can do that, I think. So it depends a bit on what we face, I guess. Kevin Trainer is much more suited to be on support duty. So for counterattacking situations, that's probably not the right guy. He can do it to a degree. But we shouldn't rely on him, right? We can praise his training there. Adam Jones doesn't belong there, neither do they. Terry Cobb does. Terry Cobb's anticipation is okay. Yeah, that's not bad. So, whilst his stamina is rather good, and his work rate is rather good, his mentals in general are totally fine. I think we can retrain him as probably a bold statement. But we can shift this in that direction. That should be possible. Which means if we want to get him there, he doesn't necessarily need pace, right? Acceleration and pace are fine, and I want to have them. But maybe it's worthwhile to increase the mentals actually a little bit more. Not necessarily the off-the-ball movement, but composure and anticipation. So I'll start with anticipation here, because I feel like anticipation is really important for counter-attacking situation. And seems from that perspective, that's probably okay. Mickey Lewis trains to be box-to-box midfielder. Not that it matters much. And then there's Gibson, who doesn't belong there, and you, Tumulty. Tumulty is competent at this point. Tumulty definitely is more one for the support rule, right? Support duty. That's primarily because his stamina and work rate are fine, but he's not great with off the ball movement, decision making, and so on and so forth. His suspiciability to injury is average. If he gets that trait though, that might be not that bad. And whilst it's a bit annoying to have somebody that has a really bad finish, or no long shots to speak of, bad passing, bad dribbling, bad crossing, that bad dribbling we can compensate for with knocks ball past the opponent. And the mentals are more important at this point, I think, because he will get through balls time and time again if he plays in that position. And in the other positions, he's, well, in the other formations, he's more of a guy on support duty anyway. There is never a situation where on the right wing there is somebody on attack duty. Just because in central midfield, there's a mid-Salah in the defensive formation. Or even a shadow striker. So that's fine. I think Cumber and Celtic are still within the league, if I'm not wrong about that. Okay, somebody offered for Iron Haze. Ivan, sorry. Who runs through center, tries killer balls often, plays 1-2s, looks for a pass rather than attempting to score, and tries long-range free kicks. That's a decent player. Don't think there's transfer interest for us though. And if there were, I'm not opposed to the idea, but I'm not excited by it either. Then we have a few high potential players, we knew that. Andy Davies will leave. He gets forward whenever possible and does not dive into tackles. Not sure if I agree with this actually. He doesn't look that impressive though. Can Panther play a wing play style? Okay. Yeah, we remember some of those though. Dylan Prince has fantastic acceleration, no pace to speak of for some reason. I'll try to take this game a bit more seriously, probably. Andrew Davies. He's a realist. That's not great. As a footballer, you have to dream, don't you? So, the old Lonnies are gone too. We have a goalkeeper group. We cannot drag and drop those, that would be great. Martin, Evans and Moody influence each other. Well, Martin doesn't. This is not a great group, by the way, because the only one that's fairly professional gets significant influence from the others. I don't like that much. Darren Evans is fairly pro and reserved. Nah, he's got a good personality. Let's get rid of this group. The Jamie Roberts, this group here, there's more sense to this. So Jamie Roberts might be an influence on Chris Adair, who desperately needs it, I think. And Flynn Murray, who needs it too. Dives into tackles is not a bad trade for all three of those, that's fine. And here, Sam Jones as a team leader has significant influence on the other two. That's Isaac as well as Doherty. They are not central defenders though. So this is wrong. Doesn't matter much though. We might as well call this the Sam Jones group. So let's call this professional no trade, and we put Sam Jones back in here. And it was to Doherty and Isaac, I think. Yeah, that's fine. So assuming we put in, I sorted it by whatever. Okay. Assuming we put in another young one, he has traits there. Who has no traits here? For example, Terry Cobb doesn't have traits. There's average influence on Terry Cobb because he's older. Still not a bad choice though. On the other hand, we might open up additional groups, not to pollute it too much. That makes sense. Because these two, I don't care much if he loses a bit of determination. He's reserved too. Not too bad. Whilst Sam Jones is level-headed. Well, we can offer some determination for some loyalty, I guess. That's not too shabby. Yeah, and he's spirited, so he's middle of the road in professionalism, and media-friendly isn't great either. Is there a player that absolutely needs to be head of a mentoring group? Let's look into dynamics, actually, into the hierarchy. So Roberts and Jones have their mentoring groups. That's fine. Harry Martin doesn't. He's balanced. Lewis doesn't. Lewis should, though, shouldn't he? And we can... I think realistically, we can use him to get rid of bad personalities first and foremost. Mickey Lewis is not on a specific training. He's an influential player, he's the club captain, so it's reasonable to assume that his personality might spread. No, we just need somebody that needs it. Brian Gibson, for example, could definitely use it. Adam wanted his traits to spread though. Adam Jones has traits. Terry Cobb. Terry Cobb is fairly determined, that's not too bad. Griffiths is fairly pro. Definitely not. Toby Yates might be one. But I think there was a striker group at some point. That said, the striker group is gone. He's balanced though, so not a great target. Is there anyone that absolutely needs it that isn't balanced? Gary Byrne has some traits that in fact, we could probably do with those traits on him, right? That's not too bad. So say we put Gary Byrne in here. He dictates tempo. I think Mickey Lewis is good enough mentally to be able to dictate tempo too. But his medals overall are not good enough for this. Forget about it. Yeah, in fact, this is a hard one. So there's not that many players that have a really bad personality for Mickey Lewis to tutor. I guess that's done. Is there anyone else? Same with Mr. Martinez. 28-year-old influential player, like immediately, I think. But I just don't want him to be that influential on the rest of the squad. Morgan Moody should be. I wanted to retain his personality first and foremost. The goalkeepers I think we had, right? Yeah, we had. So for the goalkeeping group, there might be some negative influence on Simon Owen. Minor one. But on the other hand, I feel like Kai Clay needs some professionalism. So if we can get him to fairly professional, for example, that would be bad. I'm glad to offer up some of that. Some of the professionalism by Simon Owen for Kai Clays. And for the rest of it, just get them together a little bit. I want to get rid of the balanced. So who else is available here? Mohammed Toker comes to mind immediately. He's 29. He looks for a pass rather than attempting to score, right? No, he doesn't. I thought he did. He's not a bad choice as a head of a mentoring group. So this is fairly pro-no trade. He might as well do a group for inverted winger here, though. So this would be inverted winger right. Is there anyone else that belongs in this group? Sure. But I don't like it. Morgan Moody definitely belongs in this group, and Ollie Isaac does. Ollie Isaac is in another group. Sure, we can remove him there. No big deal. What happens if we do that? Actually, that's a very interesting group, by the way. So I don't know, the target is probably fairly professional in this circumstance. Tucker would have average influence on the remainder of the group, and if we put Morgan Moody as a model citizen in here, that's no good. Not doing that. And if we remove Isaac here, he goes from spirited to that would be fine. But on the other hand, this implies that we need somebody else. Up here. There's not much of a purpose to this, is there? Let's give him back to this. So this is not an inverted winger group. It's just a group that contains a head that is fairly professional with no trait. And now we can find young players that have no traits. I think we've been there. Is there anyone here? Terry Cobb belongs in here. Gareth Griffiths doesn't. And we might as well put Toby Yates in here. So Cobb and Yates. Moody doesn't. Well, Moody has a trait. He has a trait that we don't want on them. Darren Evans, same. Nate Davies doesn't have a trait yet. He's fairly pro though. Alex Holt he has traits. Don't want that. And Gavin Trainer already cuts inside from the left wing. That's not too bad, right? So Toby Yates would get significant influence from Mohammed Toker and Terry Cobb, average. I like this overall. That's fine. What are the other muted wingers on the left? It feels like this is a group that is just Gavin Trainer, really. And I want to do this for Trainer too, but we've got some players there. The thing is, we don't have anyone that is really, like, the head of this group. So who can we combine? Should be Tumulty. Morgan Moody is in the wrong group for this. I realized that, yeah. So that's probably Terry Cobb. Assuming we put Terry Cobb in this group, he would get average influence from the other two. Probably gain one of the traits. That might be traits that we don't want on him though, so forget about that. That's no good. Feels like there's a central defender unit missing. What are they doing actually? So that would be Griffiths, Martinez, probably Evans. Yeah, this one. Cole Gibbings. The age distribution is all wrong though. So Darren Evans would lose his professionalism. Same as Griffiths. He also has a horrible trait that I don't want in this group. That's probably fine. That's probably fine. And he's okay too. Still, that would lose him the professionalism. So this is why there's no central defender group. Cool. I also have my problems in determining if any one of these needs to go. They might. He has good decision making. That feels like a case for dictates tempo immediately. Oh, apparently needs good teamwork. Sure, he's a good team player. Okay. So everyone that isn't included in a mentoring group right now either has some bad traits on them or is just not a very good option as a mentor in general. This is not a preseason match for me anymore. To me, this is a regular match on Saturday. So we go and do that. Well, tiredness kicking in from the climbing. Dynamics really is one of these areas where I think I can improve in general as a player. All the rebuilding of the team. As I said, we need a coaching course for him, sure. Please do that. John Gilmore is gone. Sad to see him leave, on the other hand. Now he can get some match practice, maybe. Ryan Gibson did get praised recently. He deserves it, though. Same as Gavin Trainor. For some absurd reason. Off to a great start, aren't we? Welcome to the club, sir. So, Nathan Giller is probably an easy target for praise here. We're definitely trying to give him some flexibility, that's for sure. He doesn't have the attributes for it, though. But sure, let's assume. Let's assume he gets there. Why is there no individual training here? Well, he has a really good off-the-ball movement, good decision-making, good composure, good anticipation, and a good finish. So, seen from that perspective, Shadow Striker seems reasonable, you know, in the sense that he's a finisher. The rest of it isn't great. He's more of a poacher. So much we knew. In fact, he's not much else than a poacher. We might play him as a poacher at some point, but we're talking an 18-year-old too. So there's some development in him. This is why we tried Shadow Striker after all. So why not go all the way with this? Dribbling and first touch are not that great, but he's also missing stamina and could do with some work rate. What's more important? Hard to tell. So, say we do the technical, and hope that this develops by itself at least a little bit. If he's got the technique, we might as well put him on the pitch for, I don't know, 15-20 minutes. Something like this. Apparently we can't praise his training. Mike Scarlett, that's a goalkeeper. Yeah, he's not great. His training is fine, but he will probably not live to be somewhere around the first team. And that looks like a development to me. Yeah, we considered him to be a Metzala. And now we retrain him to be a Shadow Striker. Just because this is the way it's rotated within our current squad. He's not a great playmaker. He's got good passing, but the vision is not great. And there's other stuff missing here. I think we were there. Exactly. Decisions, composure, and anticipation are not great. I don't like this much. So as a deep line playmaker, I don't consider him viable. And box-to-box is probably not a good idea either. There's too many holes in that sample. This, though, not much better than playmaker, though, is it? Still, the decision has been made. We try to get a Shadow Striker out of him. And this looks fine. He just needs stamina. And afterwards, some mental improvements. Oh, that climbing today wrecked me. Well, in case anyone's watching, what did you do for the weekend? Anything new? Was it as sunny as mine? Because there's Like, there's not a single cloud in the sky here. Luckily, I spent most of the day in the forest, so we got spared most of the heat. Okay. There's a report for this. We don't want first team players in the youth team at this point. We want first team players in the first team. So, goalkeeper talk. Simon Owen is probably our primary choice. At least that's what we signed him for. He's considered to be a good player on this level. So let him play. Kai Clay is the secondary choice. And Sovaitak is considered to be... Where is it? Yeah, he's considered to be emergency backup. So we might even give Kai Clay. He's a backup. Yep, that fits. And Simon Owen, what did we sign him for? He's considered first choice goalkeeper. So insert this is fine meme here. I think this counts. That's okay. What else? Well, he's too expensive. Did we try to renegotiate this? Apparently we didn't, because we need to end up lower than this. €20 less would be fine. At least for now. He doesn't even like that one. Okay. Sure. Kai Clay doesn't get paid. He does. So we need to change this too. What? Oh. He wants to be a regular starter once Simon Owen leaves the club. Sure. On the other hand, I don't want to do any promises. So let's walk away from this. I'd rather, I'd rather pay him from time to time. In this position, first choice should be Flynn Murray. He's on a heavy match load though. Doesn't train well. Huh. Apparently he wants to be cuddled. Sure, Flynn Murray. Sure. I don't like that about him. How's Chris Adair? In Chris Adair's case, his training has been okay-ish. Development though, not so much. Apparently we can warn him about a bad performance. I don't know which one though. We can also warn him about the development, I think. That should be better. Which leaves us with Jamie Roberts. So obviously I did not sign him for the first team. But given the current circumstances, we might as well play him. And maybe put Adair on the bench. Because as I said, Flynn Murray is on a heavy match load. I want to give him some rest. With the central defenders, Pablo Martinez as well as, well, it might be Darren Evans. Who's the other? This one. Cole Gibbons. Medical report says high susceptibility to injuries though. So let's not do this. We'll play Sam Jones instead. At least for this friendly. And Darren Evans is still considered a ball-winning midfielder, isn't he? Who did I forget? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they're all on a heavy match load. Alright. Then this is the way we do it. Same with Luca Latona. The Hurdy belongs here. That's usually Martin's job. There's not much reason not to play him there. This would be Ryan Gibson's. Mickey Lewis can play. Trainer is on a light duty, so let's put him here. Nate Davies. I guess Adam Jones could try to be Metzala again. And as a target forward, well, Alex Holt would need to be there. What's the opposition? Do we know about the central defenders? Their central defenders look rather slow. So we'll do it another way. We'll put Moody up front. Personalize this for him. And play him as a poacher. Apparently poachers have the instruction to dribble less for some reason. Yeah, that makes more sense. Dribble more is fine. And shorter passing? Seriously? His vision and passing aren't great, so shorter passing is okay. And taking fewer risks is okay too. So why not? That might fit nicely. Mohamed Toker can play here. We could also play Isaac. In fact, we should probably play Isaac. On the other hand, both of them trained rather well. So not much of a difference. How many players is this? There's one too much. Shouldn't leave Isaac at home though. Tumulty is tired. Let's leave Tumulty at home. Yeah, and bring Isaac along. Alright, full bench. Does somebody need to get fired from the squad? Probably not. So it's 22 players, 24, 26, 28. That's not small, but it's not like devastating. 28. We could do with a player or two less. So if somebody leaves, maybe we try to go without a replacement. We'll see. Most of the tracks for climbing today were called the names of some sort of bear. It was kind of nice, kind of cute, I guess. Cute is the right word for it. It was kind of cute. Anthony Richards. He will leave us tomorrow. So the thing is, I like him, but I'm not sure if we can offer him a place in the first team. Or if we should, for that matter. Physicals look much better than Martin's though, right? He's also better than Darren Evans. No big surprises there. That said, Darren Evans is not that bad. And then there's Moody. Gary Moody. Gary Moody is a great defender, but his physicals are shit. In fact, that's a common theme for ball-winning midfielder, I think. Physicals are not great. He has good strength. I like that. That's too expensive for my taste. We don't have to play him though. I do bring in too many players. I don't like this. Okay, Moody signed a new contract. And Sam Jones goes out to study for coaching qualifications, that's fine. I guess Morgan Moody can renegotiate his contract immediately though. Because this amount of money is really a lot. Oh, we should probably talk about the... Yeah, he's a regular starter right now. See? That's really reasonable. Seen from his perspective anyway, that's really reasonable. So let's get this down to 150, keep the rest. Fine, we saved 10 euros. Also, we saved whatever horrible fees we included previously. Do you need a goal bonus? That's much better. We'll get there. That's something that I like with non-contracts. They just go down time and time again. If the player does not consider himself to be very important to the squad. If the player considers himself to be very important, then contract demands go up a lot. But otherwise, we can just renegotiate every single time. Sure, it's a waste of time, but otherwise, I like that. If only we could sign players on real contracts here in Wales. We probably need to get promoted for that first. So let's get promoted, I guess. Let's get promoted. Or we could also do a really great cup run. There's 2 cups. Our squad should be big enough to compete within 3 competitions. So maybe we can go, you know, and have a good time in the cup. Contrary to last season. Yeah, well, we will go for everything in the spirit of Dortmund, if that makes some sense. Also, there's probably some slightly ironic statement there to be found if you want to see it. But I don't want to be an ass about it, really. Pitch. So, I've got a transfer task for you. I don't know, in German they say Transferaufgabe, right? So, you know about my tactics, more or less. Usually it involves some kind of wing play, sometimes very direct, through the middle. I've been really horrible at determining what kind of pitch we need at home. For home games, usually we go a bit more attacking than for the away games, right? So this might be a thing. It might include a target man, it might not, depending on the setup. So assuming that we do this would include some wing play, right? So we want a formation that is good for wingers, and we want a formation that is good for through balls. Because he will not play most of the time. Most of the time we will have not Griffith. We probably will have Martinez on the pitch. His acceleration and pace are not that bad. And we will have... where is he? Giblings on the pitch. His pace actually is quite decent. Yeah, I think this is not a narrow formation. That's probably an argument that can be made. I'm not sure if I want to go with wide. So maximum size is probably overdoing it. But long field suited, considering the pace we have. Yeah, and we whilst we do, to a degree, if you look at this, we play with wingers that try to cut inside, and we also play through the middle. Usually this is Gibson's role, right? Same here. This is more like we go through the middle to a degree. We overlap on the wings, on the space provided, but this doesn't necessarily imply that we need, vast acres of space to the right and to the left. So I'd argue that we'd rather have some space behind the defensive line, if that makes sense. So probably long. And this is accompanied by the fact that we had some really nice counter-attacking situations at some of the friendlies. It's not there yet, but it feels like we're getting there. So if we can have a little bit more pace or a little bit more better mentals, we can probably score on the counter from time to time. So let's see. Long and narrow is probably overdoing it, but long only. Long also increases the width a little bit. Width. I cannot pronounce this word. Sure. Let's do this. And prior to going to the match, I will also go for a 30-second break, give my girlfriend a kiss, and I'll be back. Yeah, it was a bit more than 30 seconds. Sorry. That said, we can go to the game now. Match, game, whatever. Both. Also, my right arm hurts, you can't imagine it. That climbing stuff, I need to do that on a repeated basis if I want to have any success with it. Other than pain. Okay, we're doing the Moody today. That's not a big match, so that doesn't matter. He's a fairly consistent performer, apparently. I just want to put him on the pitch, really. I want him to be sharp. And with some of the others, I guess Isaac needs to play too. But the familiarity is also so much all over the place here. Will we have opposition instructions? Sure. Given that this is Ton Panther, we will have some opposition instructions. So, he has dribbling 5, bravery 6, and strength 1. Good off the ball movement, though not doing anything with that. Chris Paul, strength 1. Dribbling is better. His off the ball movement is really bad, though. Like, seriously bad. Despite the acceleration and pace, he probably will not lose his marker. So let's do some tight marking on him. That would be the right defender's job, and that would be Roberts. Roberts is not very fast. He's better at marking and positioning than... Are we talking me? This is... Let me stand up for a little bit. I don't think this counts as confession and priest. Sorry, man. This is a really old-ass shirt. I think this is Pennywise, right? Yes, it is. Yeah. Probably. Not sure what I would confess, though. So to mark him tightly is kind of weird, because our marker is not that great. We'll see how that turns out. Chris Jones is so slow. He can have his off-the-ball movement all day. We will mark him tightly, give him the elbow to the face treatment, and that's it. I don't want to overdo it with those, but also show him to the weaker foot, please. And then there's Dylan Prince. It's Price, not Prince. He runs with ball down left, knocks the ball past the opponent, and likes to... Yeah, sure. That's all okay. He's a decent dribbler, not very strong. Off the ball movement is good. His pace is free. 3 whole points. So I think we will trigger the press on him and hope for the best, right? And then with these two... I don't want to overdo it. Armstrong is the one that commits forward, apparently. Wow. That off-the-ball movement, that dribbling, and that acceleration and pace. Can we mark him tightly? I don't know, we can tackle him the hard way, that's for sure. And also, probably, I guess tight marking would be one idea. The other one is to trigger the press on him. Just for him to misplace some passes. There was a playmaker in here, if I'm not mistaken. He has passing 9. He has passing 6. So Barry Williams is the one that is more the playmaker kind. Off the ball movement is 2 to 4. His strength is great, so for tight marking that will be a problem. We'll still try though. And I think that's as far as I'm willing to go. Is there anyone else in here that's really horrible at something? They are a bit slow. Let's put it like this. So maybe we can get a through ball or two. Darren Evans is fuck that. No nervousness to be found here. It's just Ton Panther. I think we had problems with Ton Panther last time out, if I'm not mistaken. Winning is a habit and we need to win this match. Toker seems anxious. What the hell? By the way, Mr. Cabbage Man, this is you now. One of the players previously on this stream straight up told me that some players need an arm to lean on and need encouragement and not criticism. No demands. They need somebody to rely upon or something like this. That was, what's his name? Flynn Murray. With that statement. I guess that settles it. I was gonna say, that was a clear offside. Oh, come on, seriously? Let's get him off. I don't want to risk it. Ollie Isaac is on the bench, so we can pull him from the pitch. Two minutes into the game. At least it's not Yates this time, because he's injured already. Not bad. He was marked tightly. This was Powell. Is this the way we instructed things to be? Oh. Stuff happened. Does this change things? Well, as a matter of fact, it might, yes. So forget about the wings. If we play through the middle here, this means that Zach Doby, whoever that is encountered in midfield. Same as Tony Williams. Both of these are not good passers. He's rather strong, so hard tackling is probably... On the other hand, his bravery and composure are really bad. Same with Zach Doby. Yeah, fuck that. Let's foul him off the pitch. They hurt Toker. Revenge. Toker probably hurt himself. But who cares? That's not bad. Well defended. By the way, this is our home pitch. Well done. Martin, Evans. Jones. Jones. That's a bad pass, is it? Moody would have put it past the goal anyway. Roberts cross, Moody, and Adam Jones. Typical Adam Jones. He doesn't give a flying fuck, seriously. Doesn't matter to him. He will try to score. He's no good at long shots, by the way. He still takes them. Alright, that's fine. 18 minutes into the game. We cannot encourage them all. Jones again with a long ball. Adam Jones. Moody is too slow. That shouldn't be a thing. Doherty, Isaac. Isaac. Is this a wonderful through ball or is it offside? The second of both. Well, of the two. Owen, Evans, Roberts. Do short passing, please. That's not short passing. Picked up by Doby. Powell and Roberts. That's well defended by Roberts. Really well defended. Jones. Not a great pass for Isaac. Isaac... Moody didn't pick up on that. Martin. Jones. Isaac. Again. Well, there's a concept. That's for sure. I'm not sure if it works, but there's a concept. Paul, Doby, and Owen. Jones with a long ball. Armstrong. And Tell. Well defended by Jones. I will try to fire them up, actually. Or I will not. Apparently I will not. Let me get rid of that. This is really anticlimactic, is it? Because this one will count. Alright, Morgan Moody. And Adam Jones with the assist. That's probably the first one. If this was a league game, I would be happy with the fact that, you know, what we saw in general as a tactical approach seemed to work barely, but it was somehow threatening. And we saw that now. In the end, it worked. Is this enough for praise, though? I'm not sure. Adam Jones... That's too far for trainer, apparently. We don't give away that many chances, though. Lewis for Moody. It was offside. Okay. Jones is, like, exhausted already. Dobie. Oh. Not a bad free kick. Foul. We gave away 11 fouls at this point. What's wrong? Roberts, Isaac. Roberts again. Roberts. Armstrong. Oh. Yeah, well. That's what he told me anyway. Maybe he also needs a change in attitude. But what can I do? I will not change people. Not, well, I will change people in this game. But it takes some time. In the case of Flynn Murray, though, he had some really great games at the start of his time with the club. Maybe we should have gotten rid of him for the second half of the season. Just play Roberts, because apparently he had really great interceptions. That's probably offside. It is. There's a reason why I'm looking for good personalities. Sometimes it feels like I look for good personalities more than skill. Because all the skill is well and good, but if you don't bring it to the pitch, it doesn't matter. And it feels like personalities are part of that. A bigger part than I care to admit sometimes. Yeah, but I think there's a component to it. Too much pressure, though, might limit it. It might limit performances. Now, maybe we could argue it's a question of philosophy. I don't like all of these fouls. That went well. Trainer. Oh, it was a really nice dribble by Trainer overall. I think within 4 people. That's not offside this time, is it? It's not. Trainer. Sure. It's just a friendly. And it's just Pun Panther. That said, I'm still happy with that. It's not even a great finish. But for example, at this point, I could go with you know, increase the pressure, demand more, blah. Yeah. I think I do tend to build up pressure throughout the week though, don't I? With this has not been good enough, this has not been good enough, this has not been good enough. I don't know what happens if you overdo this. Well, I guess I know what I expect to happen, right? Well intercepted by Lewis, Evans, Sam Jones. Not a long ball by Sam Jones. That might not be offside. It isn't. Trainer. He will take the shot, won't he? It's in. What a goal. Trainer in the penalty area, cuts inside, hammers the ball against the upright. Not the upright, is it? It's a crossbar, whatever. The upright is the post. It's even worse. This is related to rugby. Let's get rid of that word immediately. Get out of my head. But then, given that they perform depending on the morale that they have, which is just an aggregate rating for all the interactions you have, wouldn't it be more just better to have this on a on a green level all the time? Then maybe we can demand more in matches depending on their mood in the match. Well, anyway. I think this is fantastic. 3 goals is good. I'm very happy with this. In particular because we started into this game trying to play for the counter at home. So not with a very attacking approach. And we just put him to the knife due to inferior quality, really. I like that. So, for example, in these circumstances, I could demand more, but it feels kinda overdoing it. Like, really overdoing it. Because we are well in control of the game, overall. Well, maybe not in control is probably the wrong way to put it. Yeah, with some of the personalities, I think you're definitely right. But it's also it's obviously a gamble, because they might react differently from time to time. But with some of the personalities, sure. Oh, that's not good. That's not a good finish, though. But especially the personalities that have great resistance to pressure. It might be a good idea for them. I'll bring one up here. Morgan Moody, as far as we know, he thrives on playing in big matches. That's top-notch pressure, isn't it? So we don't know for sure, but we also know that he's evasive and unflappable. Again, That implies good pressure, resistance to pressure. So, for him, to demand more is probably a good idea. A flare thing? Nah. His flare is 11 only. No. This implies resistance to pressure as far as I'm aware. Which makes total sense. He's a model citizen after all. Ah! What a finish! Isaac is complacent. So now we can try some things. In case of complacency, we will demand more. There's no use in Moody's case to demand more, I think. I don't know where you get that from. Flair is not a... Flair is to do the unexpected. I don't think it doesn't influence the personality. I don't think so. That way. But flair is just a capability. It's not about the frequency. It's about the natural talent for the creative and unpredictable. It's the capability to me, at least according to the description. I will praise him. That's for sure. He deserves it. And the 7.5 by Jones is fine too. We praise that one too. And these two, Lewis? Well, let's see. Same as Martin. We will demand a bit more from those. Because I can. Jones. Williams. I don't think it is. That's not the way I read the description. So I have a different opinion on that. My interpretation is that flair is the capability to do the unexpected. Just as the text says. That has nothing to do with confidence in his abilities or something like this. Confidence to me is in the mood of a player. Unexpected means that it's hard to defend, because it's an attacking attribute. He takes the shot when nobody expects him to. Or he plays a dangerous through ball when nobody expects him to. Ask SI. I'm not so sure how this is implemented. Well, we gave him some great chances. And Isaac is still complacent. Roberts is frustrated by the feedback. Alright. Lynn Murray is in perfect morale all of a sudden. So let's bring him on. By the way, that changed. He had a really bad talk with me. So we know something there. His morale changes a lot, depending on the circumstances. That's just interesting to see. So now we can put him on the pitch and just tell him to go, because he's a perfect morale. Also, he doesn't like raising the expectations, so, you know, just give him time here. Isaac is complacent, he needs to go off. Is there anyone else on the bench that can play on the right wing? I think we left the last one at home, didn't we? Kevin Trainer has a decent game. He's anxious though, for some reason. We have other players that can play there. We also might want to bring on Cole Gibbings. Just because Sam Jones is tired. Yeah, it's not a big stretch. And okay, man. Okay. Luca Latona. I think Luca Latona can. He's in a good mood too. Same as Nate Davies, really. Do we want to bring him on for Lewis, for example? Sure, we could. On the other hand, Davies needs the match practice. They are all in perfect morale. You've got the time, now show us what you can do. So this is raising expectations. 2 players composed, one's motivated. And I wanna drill down on this in this situation. We know that Flynn Murray is lighthearted. His ambition is not that great. And I'm focusing on this right now because Cole Gibbings is fairly ambitious. And for some reason, challenging him immediately resulted in a good reaction. Luca Latona, on the other hand, is a balanced player, no reaction. We don't know about his ambition. But it feels like raising expectations might be something, at least in this sample, that might be related to ambition. And resistance to pressure, obviously. So maybe Cole Gibbings fits that description more than the other 2. Long ball by Gibbings. Isaac. Cuts inside. Cross. Nah. I could also... Did you ever try a very ambitious squad? Did you try that? Might be that in a very ambitious squad, raising expectations all the time is just fine. Jones, Isaac, you know, because they want to be better anyway, so they appreciate being challenged. But in a squad that is full of professional players that have loyalty, but not necessarily the ambition, they feel like you're overdoing it. Well done by Owen, by the way. Oh, Hot Jones. Seriously. What a ball. Trainer deserves some praise too. Lewis. Isaac. Long ball by Isaac. That was close. Trainer nearly got there. The professionals just do their job in a really good way. They are just concentrated on doing their job. And not being influenced by anything, by the noise, I guess. Cross by Jones. Gibbings. Long ball by Gibbings for Jones. Isaac. Isaac's long ball towards Trainer. Trainer isn't the fastest guy in the room, but he's fast enough for Moody. This is a lesson, by the way, for the league games. If we encounter a situation like this, we will not play a target man. Really well done. That pass by Trainer And this is something that Trainer has in his skill set. We've known about that for a long time. Because Gavin Trainer... In fact, I'm quite impressed by this. Yeah, he's got the technique, but really, I was wrong about that. He has decent dribbling, decent first touch, decent technique. He doesn't have the vision or any of the mentals to pull that off. His flair is okay. That was a freak accident. So I gotta correct myself here. This is not part of his skill set usually. This is just a freak accident. A happy little accident though. We should probably get rid of Evans. He's tired. Yeah, exactly. He tripped and all of a sudden an assist appeared. What can you do? He's anxious for some reason. Why is he anxious? So, let's experiment with this. It's a friendly after all. We will replace Evans here. Martinez is anxious. We have as many substitution breaks as we want. Being anxious... I always forget the... I always forget the exact translation. Anxious means ängstlich, right? Yes, it does. So, why is he anxious? Do we know anything about him? He's balanced, he's 28. Oh, we need to finish this dialogue. Cool. So, we ease the pressure on him? Given that he's anxious? I want us to see this result out, but don't let that pressure affect your performance. This should ease the pressure, right? Any impact you can make will be a bonus. Doesn't do anything. I'm not sure if this is the wrong talk though. Because increasing the pressure given that he's already anxious will probably not be the right thing to do. Nice tackle by Lewis, by the way. Moody, Jones, and then nothing happens. Martin, Isaac, Moody, Jones. Oh. Jones again. What a ball! Moody. Should have been his fourth. Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't tell us. So what is the anxiousness related to? Is it about making an appearance on the pitch? Is it about conceding? What's the problem? And we just don't know. So that's something that I cannot quite understand. Yeah, might be. Again. Oh. Moody is outstanding in this game. In his role as a striker. It's really, really weird. Sure, it's his core position. But he's really enjoying this. You can definitely see it. He found a wonderful pass. Forget about the last goal. This is the best one of the entire game. What a goal. Long ball towards Moody, out on the wing. The advanced forward finds a wonderful pass towards midfield, and Lewis hammers that one in from outside of the penalty area. Moody isn't a great passer and Lewis isn't a great goal scorer. Definitely not one for the long shots. What a fantastic goal. Hands down, this is probably the best goal I've seen in this iteration of Football Manager with these teams. Sure, it's a friendly, but this is really a fantastic goal. Moody's rating is 9.7 now. Please don't cry. Crying on Twitch is reserved for Critical Role. I do, in fact. Here you go. That's tissues. Well, is it whatever it's called, right? It's probably tissues. Single use. Trainer. Lewis. Second long shot of the game by Lewis. Trainer again. Cuts inside. Another cross. Jones. He's a good header. I don't know why this didn't happen. Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, hurry. Play. Oh no. We didn't concede though. Alright. Let's substitute all of these that have a good performance. Not because it's necessarily needed, but I want to avoid injury at this point. And I think this is the right circumstance to do it. So we need a replacement for Harry Martin, that's Moody. No, the other Moody. You know, the one that was with this club prior to our new hero appearing. Mickey Lewis, in his role as a box-to-box, can either be replaced by Davies or by Byrne. I think we will play Byrne, just because he's without any sharpness at all. Might not do much though. Holt is anxious. He can come on though. And Terry Copford, trainer, probably also decent. That's it. So let's give a team talk. One of those is complacent. No, two of those are complacent. Complacency demands focus, right? So this challenges them about the place in the team. Easing the pressure definitely is not the right thing to do. I think increasing pressure for these two, I want to see a good performance from them. It's 4 or 5 minutes, but whatever. They are still complacent. These two are anxious, so easing the pressure is probably a good idea. Let's try this. No positive reaction. And then there's Gary Byrne. He's composed. Not much to tell. So encouraging seems fine. For some reason, encouraging works most of the time. But I tried to vary it. Also, Latona is complacent. So I will tell him to focus. And some of those would have preferred to stay on the bench, apparently. Why is that? Now he's overwhelmed by the feedback. Sure. Not that it matters anymore. This is the end of the game. Match is done. Should be. Yeah, that's it. It was really about efficiency though. That said, we created a lot of chances. And I think this puts one point into perspective too. The quality of chances created was really great in this game. Because the quality of their chances created wasn't that bad, but it wasn't up to the standard that we had. This was counter-attacking football, by the way. So this was defensive, right? This was the defensive formation. Gavin Trainer is angry that we took him off. He's angry that we took him off. I guess I would want him to be. This is fine. Okay, that's not too bad. That's alright. We'll deal with it. In other news, no news. Other than Morgan Moody absolutely pounding an opponent. Should have been a league game. We will probably not see a repetition of that one. Well, at least that's good for the mood. That'll be the headline for the newspaper. Moody settles the mood affair. I don't know. I'm sure we can think of a better one though. Yeah. I'm trying to include some sort of Moody display, you know, a word play, saying what he displayed, Moody, whilst saying it is a Moody display, just like in average. So that somebody reading the article might be highly confused after reading the headline, because they might not be aware that Moody is a player of the team. So, but that would be the difference between a Moody display and Moody's display, probably. So it's hard to put that into a headline, I think. I don't know. I'm not a journalist. I don't do that kind of stuff. But we've got the episode title, a Moody display. I can't forget that. Or maybe a Moody performance, that's even better. Carl Bacon reports. Well, Mr. Carl Bacon. Mike Morris. Who the hell is Mike Morris? A Moody pounding. That looks fine. Yes, it does to a degree, and I thought about that. I didn't want to comment on it though, you know? Trying to be a professional and all. Obviously I failed. So he wants to do more strength training. I am not responsible for the comments of my watchers. I am not responsible for the comments of my watchers. I am not responsible for the comments of my watchers. He doesn't train well. We will tell him. Flynn Murray feels like preseason training has been started too early. Like, seriously, man. Get over with it. We will look at Holt's training. Oh, so this is better. I was worrying that Alex Holt had to reach the end of his possibilities. That said, this looks fine. Sure, he could do a bit better everywhere, like always, but this is okay. And mentals are starting to be in the average area, whilst coming up towards the this is fine area to us. So I like that. Not sure about the ball control though. Also, his penalty taking could probably, I don't know. We've got somebody else on the pitch most of the time, don't we? I don't like the natural fitness at all. But this comes at the detriment of the physical attributes overall. The lack of natural fitness, I think. At least that's how it works, if I'm not mistaken. You know, throughout a career. We cannot train natural fitness specifically, though. So, whatever. This might have started out as a 1 with Alex Holt. Is he also suspiciable? No, he's not. He's just unfit. But given that his physical attributes do not improve that much, experience needs to be spent somewhere else. So I guess that means mentals and technicals more often than not. So I'm not worried. That's okay. There's a few unhappy 20 others. Everybody wants to do more strength training. Are you kidding me? What is it they do down here? Preseason training without strength training apparently is a problem to them. Fine. Do some physical training. Then go away. Seriously. You will not play a season anyway. There you have it. Please don't get injured. And if you do, don't come crying back to me. On the other hand, this is the youth. And from the display that I watch every single day around here, children tend to come back to their parents crying after whatever they wanted to do that doesn't turn out the way they want it to be. I think I was probably the same at that age. So, Mr. Cabbage Man, did you notice that I did a sticker specifically for you? I will present this now. I hope you're watching. This is your sticker. we definitely need a tactical overhaul. You might not agree with the sound, but with the statement, hopefully. This is also, but by the way, this is fantastic because all the people will probably bite their keyboards right now. The way this is done is obviously it's some sort of a weird angle here, but the way it was slapped on the screen, this is random, and it was close enough to be perfectly aligned on the screen, but just so close. So everybody with their OCDs now can bite into their keyboards and be like, why would you do this to us? So this is fantastic. I love this. And by the way, Artem, well, back to the stream. It was Deng and Artem. Still got it, hopefully. Do we want to play a League 2 game? We get 2K. Sure, we want to do that. This is at the 17th. 17th of July. This is this month. This is here. That's a bit... Yeah. We will definitely do that. We need money. Of course we will come. And then afterwards it's a cup game. So we will just go to Newport, play the second team, whoever still needs sharpness, and don't care about the consequences. Or maybe rotate a little bit. It's a friendly after all. This is a bit... That's some time out. They play Catenaccio style, okay. Sure! As I said, I did those yesterday. I don't know, somebody said they want them. There was somebody that I talked out of doing a subscription. At least it felt that way. You know, yeah, well, if it brings back memories to you, fine with me. No, but the story to the stickers is somebody wanted to subscribe. I think it was the guy that came over from YouTube. Fantastic. If you are a Tottenham fan, that's good. Oh no, they won't play in Europe next season. Well, fantastic. If you are a Tottenham hater, that's good. I hope that's fine. To me, though, it's a sad day from very different circumstances. No, it's not. Actually, yesterday is a sad day to me personally. So I want to confess to this on stream now. You know, my affiliation with different clubs is kind of shaky at best. So let me tell you why yesterday's day was not a great day for me. First of all, Bayern Munich won the championship in Germany. I just cannot abide that anymore. That's all there is to it. So that makes me sad. Also, this gets amplified by the fact that I did some very questionable personnel decisions this season, and I really dislike mismanagement. So, to me, as long as Bayern doesn't win anything, that's probably a good year. The problem is they still want something this year, even though it's well below their own standards. So hopefully, I don't know. Maybe something will burn, not literally, but you know, metaphorically in Munich. Reportedly, it does though, because they fired Salihamidzic and Khan. So at least that's a minor plus. Then VfB Stuttgart, you know, I was born and raised in Stuttgart, went down to the relegation spot. I guess that's deserved to a degree. I do not agree with some of the management choices throughout the season. So in a way, that makes me happy to see that. On the other hand, I want them to be in the first league. They deserve to be there, and I don't want them to go down into the second league again. Sven Mislintat and Pellegrino Matarazzo will not be around to save them a second time. So hopefully they do not get relegated. Then there's good news though. So you might have found out that Heidenheim got promoted today. In fact, they turned around the game against Jan Regensburg, I think, in the second league. So Heidenheim go up into the first league. That's... I feel like... it feels like this should have been a thing 5 years ago. I want Frank Schmidt definitely in the first league. And I want them to keep their spot in the first league. This is, to me, this is on par with Union Berlin, basically. From in the amount of impressiveness that goes into their performances, given the circumstances. Also, the Hamburger Sportverein, the laughingstock of Germany's football, at least to me, because I'm not from Hamburg, they somehow managed to end up in the relegation spot again in the second league. So now Stuttgart will need to play Hamburg, which means that I will somehow need to find out how to watch this, because I definitely want Stuttgart to win this game, and I definitely want Hamburg to remain down in the second league. And if it's the other way around, I will cry a river for an entire week. Because I cannot stand Hamburg in the first league and Stuttgart in the second one. Also, St. Pauli will remain in the second league for, again. No. They are in third spot in the second league. They can go up. And speaking relegation from the third league, I think it's Bielefeld. I'm not sure. I would need to look this up. And one of the teams that did quite well in the second league for much longer than anticipated was Sandhausen. They are guaranteed to go down, and they went down. Together with, I think Regensburg went down too, if I'm not mistaken. I should probably open this. This is all from the top of my head, so don't quote me on it. Also, Darmstadt lost second league, the first spot in the second league. Heidenheim overtook them by goal difference today, because Darmstadt lost against Fürth, which is, I wasn't Fürth today. Darmstadt got a nice 4-0 pounding, I think, in Fürth. So, yeah, if that's something that feels funny to you, cool. Southampton, Leicester, and Leeds are relegated. Well, the preseason report for Taffs Well. Do we want to go through these? Probably not. Everybody's aware. And if you are not, well, who cares? We will find out throughout the season. That's it. Team cohesion doesn't improve. I don't like that at all. We have a lot of players who are of similar ages. Do we? Really? They share a nationality. What's that? Welsh, probably. Or English. It's probably both for most of them. Is Wales like the annoying little brother to English people? I'm not aware. Is this as it works in England? On the other hand, there's Scottish too. Maybe England is considered to be the oldest one in a family of annoying brothers. And Ireland is the distant cousin that nobody wants to see. That's probably the way it is in England. Well, they don't speak any civilized language as far as I know. Nobody can pronounce that shit. Other than the people in Wales. I don't want to hate on the Welsh, by the way. I've never been there. I should probably go there. It would be really nice. I wouldn't understand a single word. But I imagine most of the stuff is available in English. And if it isn't, I would be totally lost. I would start to talk French just for fun. So it's guaranteed that nobody else can understand me. It's hot in here. So within the apartment, my room is to the east. So that means that I do not get most of the sun exposure here in this room. The room is not that small. It's not that big either. It's a, I don't know, how many meters is this? Maybe maybe 2.5 by 4.5 or something like this. So it's not that small. It's a bit stretched, a bit long, but not that small. Yeah, you can have that guy. Remove him from the shortlist. I don't want him anyway. He's too old for my taste. That said, the air in here, the moment I start streaming, the air in here declines in quality rapidly. And this is not due to the computer running, this is just due to me closing the door. And, you know, I cannot open the window because outside there's... Today, one of the children outside was so loud that I didn't understand my own girlfriend who was speaking right next to me. And we are in way up in the building. Just the way it is sound-wise here. So, yeah. I need to get some fresh air. If at some point you see me spending the money that comes in for streaming, so the whole whopping 20 cents or whatever it is, I spent that on an oxygen bottle, you know where this comes from. I just do not want to interrupt the stream all the time. You want to have the precise numbers? Sure. So, first of all, right now this is all cryptocurrency to me, so it's absolutely worthless. Because Twitch demands that you that you own at least $50 prior to having the payout. Because, you know, this is how things work on the internet. That said, I think that the overall amount right now is something along the lines of $5, or maybe a bit more. And a single stream, depending on the amount of people watching and the amount of ads that I do, and the amount of, I don't know, there's people that run into pre-roll ads right now. So I should probably do an ad, you know, to get rid of the pre-roll ads. But depending on all of this, sometimes it's 5 cents that I own from a stream, and sometimes it's like 20. I think one of the best was like 50. But that was a 5 or 6 hour stream, and there were 6 or 7 people around at that time. So that's my experience, at least. It also vastly depends on, you know, who watches on mobile, who watches on PC, who has an ad blocker, so on and so forth. And obviously a single subscription will, it's like $1.50. And the other $1.50 is wasted on Twitch. Sorry, it is given to Twitch, who pretty much deserve this, given that they provide this platform. That's a way to phrase it, right? Yeah. So there's some money made here, yes. But the money made will probably be paid out in November, if it remains that way, for streaming 4 or 5 days a week, right? So wouldn't want to overdo it. Or as Loser put it, I will pay my mortgage with this. With the whole whopping $128 that I gained in 3 years. Probably not a good opportunity for a full-time job. But yes, I make a few cents here and there. It doesn't cover the electricity though. That said, electricity prices have been in decline, right? So we need to register players. Apparently, there's one player in this sample that has been trained by Taffs Well for 3 years prior to the 21st birthday. Who the hell is this? Who's the homegrown one? Who is Joshua Rose? What? Who? Why? Why is he in the first team? Oh. Oh! This gets better and better. So we can register additional players from the U19 with no intention to play them at all. Which is fantastic. Obviously, we don't need a goalkeeper. Who is Michael Williams? We don't need him either. Chris Adair, Logan Brown. Logan Brown can be registered. Why not? Kyan Shieldslater, probably not. There should be another homegrown guy, right? Joshua Rose is registered already. Cedric Jones. Well, he's named Jones. So obviously we need to register him. That's why I will not do it. I will ask Ben Jones. No. There's 3 Joneses here. Seriously. We will register Connor Jones. He's a good replacement for Adam Jones. That feels totally fine. We need somebody else. Where is it? Alright, Ben Jones it is. Just a random pick. And now we have 1 additional player in the squad that we can register. That's it. We will confirm this. Everybody's happy. Fantastic. So now we can have the full sample of substitutes. That's great. Training. We need to get through this. Okay. So next match, by the way, is against Cumberland Celtic. These are still within the league with us. Let's go through training on an individual basis. Isaac trained well. Might as well tell him. Doherty did the same. That's not too shabby. He might include some pace at some point. Ryan Gibson. For him, that's actually not that great, is it? Given his training performances overall. Morgan Moody. Yeah, sure, that's fine. I'm quite impressed by Gavin Trainer, actually. I didn't expect him to train well at any given point in time. Sure, that went well. Mickey Lewis's, that's not that great. Look, 4 points of long shots, and he scored that screamer last game. Adam Jones, he increases in technique. Okay. That's not what I wanted, but who cares? And there is a lot of players that do not train well at all. There's an elephant outside in my apartment, apparently. Yeah. Tokers, though, we can definitely criticize Toker. He will accept it. Gareth Griffiths should do better. He's a fairly professional player. We will tell him. Pablo Martinez. We brought him in as an improvement. Now he's an improvement from a certain perspective. Because he's a 28-year-old and he's anxious in a friendly. He was anxious being put on the pitch. So he's quite the example actually for the younger players. This is how you should not do it like this. Do not rely on Martinez as an example. He's a bad example. Just be different. Cole Giblings, that's not great. Alex Holt, that's good development, and well, the training performances haven't been that fantastic. We will also talk to these because I do not do the under 19s that much. I think it's worthwhile to have a look at these from time to time. By the way, is Jaron Nullet not around? Is he? No, he's not. Somebody needs to make recommendations for trades in the U19 too. Also, is there a mentoring group in here? No, there are no mentoring groups in here. That's also a thing. We could also have a look at mentoring groups down here. There might be some bad personalities. And, you know, a 19-year-old can perfectly mentor a 15-year-old. So, worst training performance in the U19 is by Andy Rooney. That's unexpected, isn't it? He's a realist at this point. Sure. Dave Owen. Same here. Bad performance in training. Is there something that Rooney needs to learn how to play? He runs with the ball down right. I don't know. The second trait fits him. First one too, to a degree. I would rather have him the cutting inside from the left wing trait though. Because this one says it's a problem as an inverted winger. For some reason. He avoids using the weaker foot. That's not bad. For Dave Owen, he has a weak foot, doesn't he? It's not great, but it will work. We try to teach him to be a ball winning midfielder. Because, you know, passing's good, vision's good, and what the hell did we think? Oh, we thought the rest of it is shit. Yeah, there's some sense to this. Well, we cannot tell him to dive into tackles, we cannot tell him to remain in the back at all times, so not sure about any traits. Aaron McIver is a long-time servant at this point. Is he still spirited? He is. In his role as a playmaker, though, not much development at all. And the balance is really bad. As a Metzala, he would not do. There's no development to be had with him, is there? He will probably leave at some point. This guy will not remain with the club. Mel Paler didn't train well. We consider him a box-to-box midfielder. He increased in jumping reach. Fantastic. Oh, that's worthy of some criticism though, right? Dives into tackles would be nice, but he's not strong. We're talking a 16-year-old though, so who knows. George Cherry. He's unambitious. So we need to find a central defender that can mentor him. That's not the right one. Is there a NOLA central defender in this sample? I guess that would do too. General. Yeah. So we need to set up some mentoring here. Say we do spirited. Who was the spirited guy? We can also do fairly pro, why not? So there might be a benefit to keep all the players in the U19 after all. Because Iron Jones doesn't have a trait. Who the hell is this, by the way? When did we bring him in? Okay, he's been with us for a season, apparently. It talks to the build. Or the Sun, or whatever. It talks to the local newspaper. And clearly states that you are interested. So it results in a press release with all the consequences. So assuming you are with a club right now and you declare interested in a job in another club, the current chairman will probably not be thrilled by this. It's the inverse if you decline any affiliation with a more interesting job. If you are unemployed, it might come at a detriment of job possibilities in other clubs, but it might go down well with the club you are declaring interest with. Does it make sense? I hope that wrapped it up nicely. That's more or less how it works, I think. Okay. So, I don't know, what are the circumstances you find yourself in right now? We need some 15-year-olds. So, Kieran Davies doesn't have any traits, that's fine. And George Cherry doesn't have traits either, and he's unambitious. So, whilst Ivan Jones has light influence on this, this is the way it should be done. I'm not a big fan of that of the new Star Wars adaptations, and in particular the Mandalorian, but this is the way. Fantastic. So you've got a whole whopping 3 attribute points in training to spend, and an additional 3, I think, in your the mentals. This is great. What did you spend it on? I really like that. This is the way I do it myself. There's another 21-year-old that avoids using weaker foot. We should probably use that, right? Seriously, there's a maximum number of characters to this. Also, you cannot scroll in there. You need to hammer you need to hammer the key. Fantastic. Great UI design. Alright, so he avoids using the weaker foot, which means that we need to find players that need some professionalism that have a weak foot. That's not the one. That's definitely not the one. He has low determination, no traits, Not great. Callum Jones could do with that trade. He's... I guess that would be fine. Same as Shield Slater. That's good. So let's add these two. Then there's also unambitious guys here. No, this is fine. Apparently it is not. So Shield Slater does not get any influence from this, for whatever reason. Let's put somebody else into this group. Ben Jones has a really weak foot. That's a reasonable choice. So now we have two mentoring groups that should improve professionalism. A little bit at least, right? Do we have anyone else down here who's old and professional? Jake Evans is spirited. No trade. Spirited, no trade feels good. That's probably the most any streamer ever has spent on the youth team and mentoring groups in particular in the youth team. I can already see the comments on the YouTube video. This is a waste of time. Why do you do this to us? Low determination needs to go. Mike Morris's no. 16-year-old Shield Slater. I think this is the one that wasn't influenced. Yes, it is. There's no influence whatsoever on these. Do we find anyone else here? He has no traits. That feels reasonable. Mel Paler has a trait. Kelly Pro, he's unambitious. Chris Doran. Curls ball. That's better. So, hopes are Jake Evans can be a slightly positive influence on most of them, and with Shield Slater, I don't know what to do with him. What's the problem? He's level-headed. I don't know what's going on. We'll keep him in here. Maybe this becomes a light influence at some point. Alright, I need some fresh air prior to going to the match. I need to open the window for a few minutes. So we will do a short break, right? I'll be back in 3. Alright. We hit it on the dead nail on the head, I think. Vixman, prior to the break, I didn't want to ignore you, by the way, with the stats. I just got, you know, sometimes you forget stuff. 4 adaptability sounds kind of nice. 2 attacking, 2 defending, 2 working with youngsters. That's not too shabby. At least you didn't waste a point on fitness. Well, thank you very much. Also, there's some oxygen in this room now. Like, barely tolerable, but there's some oxygen in this room. We have the luxury of opening additional windows in those short breaks. Yeah, fitness and goalkeeping is probably the worst of it. But I feel in particular fitness is direly needed in most of these clubs, because you cannot get a fitness coach for, I don't know. It feels like you have to find money and give it to a mafia boss to get a fitness coach in any of these lower league clubs. So usually fitness coaching is exactly 1 point by anyone. So it feels like you should do it all on fitness coaching. Then again, 3 points will not change it. Your training will be absolutely shit, whatever you do. Yes, there's some sense to this. But I feel like adaptability increases by itself if you switch clubs a lot. In fact, our adaptability might be more than 1 at this point. Do we want to find out? Because, you know, we left Sweden. I don't know the attributes of my manager right now. Mr. Rancic probably is well known in the world at this point. In every community that has less than 200 people in it. Do we need to set a list with squad numbers? If no list is submitted, numbers 1 to 11 will be used. We set the squad numbers, do we? Fuck me. Why? Why would you do that to me? That's not better. Who are you? You will... Yeah, that's fine. That's not fine. You will not get a number. It's not like it matters anyway. We can change those prior to every single game. Where's the youth players? He wants the 10. Why didn't he get the 10? Give him the 10. Joshua Rose doesn't need a number at all. What kind of menu is this? He's not on the first team anyway. Cool. Pablo Martinez needs a number. 25 is not taken, take it. Latuna needs a number. All of these will be played. Cedric Jones, not so much. So forget about his number, he can go. Bye. You can have the 14 now. Cole Gibbings needs a number. Kai Clay, that's all fine. Who's Simon Owen again? Yeah, sure, goalkeeper. I'm really well endorsed with all of these people. These all need a number. Or at least they can use one. Do we have more than 25 players in the squad? I think that makes sense. We might have. Sure, submit those numbers, doesn't matter to me. Should have submitted 1 to 11. Who's Jason Bowden? Jason Bowden's trial will finish tomorrow. That's the one that got poached by Peterborough. Actually, that's a former player of ours. So the question is, do we want to sign this guy? With his whole whopping 5 points of positioning. Because otherwise he looks fine. If we compare this to our primary choice right now, which is Pablo Martinez, there's a slight difference in capability here. So I guess, assuming that he is star player, sure, why not? Want to throw out the 28-year-old and bring an 18-year-old in instead. This is the way, isn't it? He's also really humble for an Englishman, apparently, wage-wise. And he just wants to be star player. There's no complaining. You got a job. And you're the Hogdals AK. Or in Wales. In Latvia, that's even better. Fantastic. I was actually going to manage that there at some point. I think I tried to find a job there back when we were fired at the other Hogdals, at least for a few seconds, but there were no openings, I think. So, given that I do not know a single football club in Latvia, please let me know. Please elaborate. What is the name of the club? Spartaks. What the hell is Spartak? I switched to nuts. These are healthy. Don't let anyone tell you that I'm not responsible. No, not responsible. I'm not responsible for anyone. No. That I do not assume responsibility for you know, healthy food and stuff. So what are the circumstances of Spartaks though? Do the players have contracts? Is there money? Is there any staff? Will you be able to find an assistant manager? That's probably the worst. If you can't find an assistant manager, you will not have pre-filtered staff recommendations and so on. That's not bad. This is where you find out it's all non-contracts. What's the goal? Is there any? Yeah, I said, is there a goal? Like, what's the target by the club? Avoid relegation or be promoted? Well, there's no promotion. Yeah, like, what's the chairman's, I don't know. What does he want you to do? Mid-table, okay. Great. Let's have a look at Latvia. The support Vigsman was taken. Teams. Spartaks, there it is. Nice colors, especially the away kit. I like that. I like black. Spartak's facilities are, well, they might be a bit different in his save. Junior coaching is adequate, youth recruitment is average, below average training in youth facilities. That's not too shabby. Player base, at least. There's a slight difference in my save with the amount of money they spend on players, I think. If you look at these wages, this is not 5k per week. When did it start? They might have achieved a few good seasons in my save. This is a professional club too. Is this a pro club in your save? I guess so. Oh no, we might not get Bowden. Yeah, there's some sense to this. But it's full-time contracts, right? Is this a professional club in your save? That's good. Have fun. I don't think we need a replacement for the striker. I think I reconsidered. But I don't know what amateurs do. Well, I don't know what they do in circumstances where there's full-time training for the remaining players. I don't know if they appear they show up 2 sessions or if they show up for the entire time without getting paid. I'm not aware. We will play Celtic today. Apparently Moody is not a heavy duty. For some reason. And whilst I want to give him some sharpness, I think we can do that next game. So let's put those with low match load on the pitch and leave those at home that are under heavy match load. Which is not that many at this point. Mitzala, this is Ryan Gibson's job, so let him take it. Box-to-box midfielder would be Lewis, but Lewis is not available, so we might as well play Byrne or Davies. Given that Davies is in decline with the sharpness, let's bring Davies. Striker, Holt is available, let Holt play. Mohamed Toker needs a fitness test. Not great. Maybe we can give Isaac additional time on the pitch. He needs to get used to the position anyway. Sure, why not? And then we have a central defender problem. Griffiths could do with some match experience. Adair could too. Lynn Murray could. Or we give match experience to Pablo Martinez. You know? Darren Evans can remain. Trainer. That's not strictly needed. Pulling him off the pitch. And these, Sam Jones can be here, Tumulty can be here, And out of these three, that's not a great choice. Who do we want to be hurt the least? Do we want to risk it? It's above average only. Put him on the bench. And bring Lewis along. Because why not? But the other two, I feel they might be vital throughout the season, so let's not do this. Mickey Lewis, on the other hand, sure, he's the captain. So I don't want to leave Latona at home, though. Cool, let's do this. So we do the same formation and the same mentality, just without the advanced forward this time. Let's have a look at their position. I'm starting to regret this. These are slow too, it seems. Maybe switch that? But there is no fast striker available. Is there? Terry Cobb doesn't know how to play there. Lewis definitely isn't. Can Tamilty play striker? Nah. Mohamed Toker? Not really. Isaac could play striker this game as an advanced forward. As could Trainer. Well, in Trainer's case, he doesn't have good mentals. Isaac, on the other hand, could definitely do that. Forget about Holt here. We can play Tamilty as a winger. There's the experimentation. No target forward available. This is for next match only, obviously. No target forward available. None here, none here, none here, and none here. And we play Isaac as an advanced forward. Pass it shorter, take fewer risks, dribble more. Yeah, this is fine. He's a good dribbler, so there's some sense to this. Taking fewer risks is fine too. His vision and passing are bad. And shorter passing goes along with this. I think that this might work. So, same approach as last time, really. Because these two do not seem very fast. He's okay-ish, but not really fast. He's fast. Also has decent dribbling. Marking him tightly is probably a good idea. On the other hand, it doesn't matter much. Let's look the other way. So, he's rather slow. Marking him tightly is probably not a good idea. Let's not do that. On a striker, that might be dangerous, though. Closing him down, yeah, definitely. And dribbling 6 on a lone striker, we might as well tackle him hard. Sure. In Latvia, you mean? And you're safe? That will probably be great. Well, he's a fast one with really bad off-the-ball movement. So we want to mark him tightly. Sure. Let's try to mark him tightly. his off-the-ball movement is so bad, we might just stand a chance. The alternative is to close him down, but if we try to close him down once he's with the ball, not a great deal. He knocks the ball past the opponent and runs down the left. We will have a problem defending this with that amount of pace. Evan Roberts. Evan Roberts is decent overall. I guess the best choice here is to mark him tightly though. If we look at that passing, tight marking seems like a reasonable choice here. I don't want to tackle him hard though. In fact, I have my problems tackling hard, all of them. That might give away too many free kicks. We had problem with that in the last game. Let's see. We won the last one though. This is dribbling 4. Off the ball movement 5. He's a striker and not somebody to put on the wing. Let's show him to the weaker foot too. In fact, let's not do that. It's a weird choice here, but he's really dangerous. We will actually show him to the right foot, which is his stronger one, to push him outside. Because on the inside, he is really dangerous. His crossing is 1 though. Let's show him to the outside. So we will show him to the right foot, at least here. And we will tackle him hard. He has 4 points of dribbling. His bravery is bad. No physicals to speak of. That's fine. Harry Ali, 4 points of dribbling again. It doesn't feel like we need to mark him tightly. He's a ball-winning midfielder and that's it. Probably close him down for some mistakes. Yeah, but that... He's not strong, he's not brave, he has no dribbling. We need to tackle him hard. Also show him to the weaker foot, just because we can. And Rhys Williams, his passing's a bit better. His dribbling is bad though. Off the ball movement is inexistent. Mark him tightly. He might out-jump his marker. But to have this contested is probably a good idea. And also, tackle him hard. And show him to the weaker foot. Forget about the defenders, I don't want to see too much there. All of this for a friendly. Yeah. I'm getting ahead of myself, am I not? Also, did I threaten you with doing set pieces today? I didn't do that yet. Sure, okay. So, we have a random sample of players on the pitch and Ollie Isaac. This is Cumberland Celtic, it's a home game. Trying to increase the pressure here. Everybody's composed. He's confused and demotivated. Sure, he's unambitious. That's expected, actually. This confirms our theory, by the way. Well, he's not explosive birthday cake anymore. So he's the cabbage man now. But that confirms the theory that raising expectations is probably something that goes down well with players that have ambition. So let's encourage them instead. Because, no ambition in this team. And then let's see. Well defended by Martinez, trainer, and that was probably a long ball. Oh, they signed Robbie Williams. Hopefully we can entertain him. There's No chances created whatsoever. Within 20 minutes. Isaac. Isaac. Nice dribbling. Doherty. Cross from deep. Maeve. Hughes. Davies. Tumulty is out on the wing, and that's a corner. At least a corner. 21 minutes into the game, and we had one minuscule chance, if you can call it like that. Doherty. Not a bad corner. Ooh. Gibson. Good ball. Martinez. Gibson again. Gibson's lob. Ali. And he just clears the ball. Jones is... That's complacent. Jones is not the fastest guy. But this is really about complacency to me. So let's play down the left. That would focus on Trainer. Trainer is not that slow. Jones's throw, Roberts, Jones again. That's picked up by Owen. Roberts. Tumulty. That's the opposite of playing down the left though. Williams. Martins. Hughes. Williams. Not a problem for Roberts. Not this time anyway. Owen. That's a long ball. He finds Trainer. Trainer finds Gibson, and that's offside. Well, Isaac, you could do better. Do we demand more? Let's try. Let's try to demand more. Well, apparently that worked for some of them. Martinez. We take those. Sure. Fine. If only this would be a real game. This was a league opponent. We scored. We didn't give them a single chance. This is one way to decide games, right? Freak accident though, at least to them. Quite happy with that. Maeve, Ali. Oh, Evans, that's not good. Gardiner. Well intercepted by Trainer. Good job. He will get it all out within the friendly phases. Ryan Gibson is stressed now. Okay. He's unambitious and we stressed him. So... I'll still do it. We fired him up. You know, sometimes demanding can work, sure. And we'll do the same with Evans and Isaac. The rest of them is motivated more or less. Not sure what to do about Nate. He's fairly pro as well as... I don't know. Reserved. That Could imply... Reserved implies a certain amount of resistance to pressure, right? Worked. Fine with me. And Harry Martin... I will not do anything to Harry Martin. To rely on the personalities of balanced players that, you know, were in the game at the start of the game. That's just a random dice roll. Isaac! Well intercepted. This is what I want to see. Sure! Nice start into the second half. Long ball by Owen. Tumulty doesn't win the duel. Huge. That should be offside. Yes, it was. Roberts, Evans. Is that guy still complacent? He's not. Let's take that off. That's not too bad. Martin, Tumulty. Can he find a crossing option? No, he can't. He can. He can't. Davies. Apparently Mickey Lewis had a talk with him. That was not a great shot. Mickey Lewis's shot was a screamer. This one was a fluke. Look at that cross. Really bad. That's bad defending though, to a degree. And then Davies. That caught the keeper off guard or something. That's a goalkeeper's mistake, isn't it? Well, 2 goals. Expected goals rating says 0-1. I'm loving it. They had the best opportunity of the entire game and we are up 2 goals. Gibson is complacent. We will tell him to focus and we will praise him, that's for sure. We can also praise Davies, I guess. You know, nice shot. Not so Owen. He didn't do much. Ah, Gibson, that was close. Newton, Jones, Evans, Doherty, Gibson, Isaac manages to control the ball, finds Tumulty on the wing, and Tumulty finds Martin's foot. Huge. Martins, Newton. I don't think there's no instruction for Newton, is there? Feels like this is somebody that got subbed on. What the hell are you doing? Who is this? This is Roberts, is it? Yeah, it's Roberts. Huge. Perry, Owen. I wanna know who this huge guy is. Oh no, this one, not huge. Yeah, he's new. They subbed half of their squad. Right-footed only, decent. The dribbling is okay-ish. Passing is okay-ish. Off-the-ball movement is okay-ish. That's hard. I guess we show him to the weaker foot and that's it. And some of the... I don't want to do the entire thing again. So let's not do that. Gürten. Ives. Well done by Martin. Decent pass towards Owen. Owen with a long ball finds Trainer on the left wing. Fantastic choice. Well, so far that is. Trainer. Doesn't cut inside, he just runs past. We take those two. Yes. It feels like these goals are scored on accident though. Also, now it feels like we're jinxing it. Well done. A poacher's job, basically. Was it tight offside? Nah, that was not a tight offside. Also, the ball came from the opposition. So... I will praise the entire team. Maybe Gibson gets fired up by this. He's part of the team after all. If this doesn't work, let him get off the pitch. Reese with a long ball. No big deal. Martins. Is it Houghton? Maeve. Long ball by Maeve. Huge. That's fine. Evans should probably be subbed off. Same with Davies. Yeah, see? He's delighted now. For some reason. Newton. Maeve. Kempster. Edwards and Owen. We gave away some decent chances to them though. I don't like that very much. Let's give them some reasonable time though. So Isaac can probably come off at this point. Let Alex Holt take his core position. And we wanted to sub off the guys on the yellow cards, right? So that means we can bring on Griffiths, for example. We do not necessarily need Jones on the pitch. Latona is complacent from the start, that's not great. Gary Byrne can make an appearance for Davies. In other news, no news. Griffiths is fairly pro, Byrne is unambitious, Holt is balanced. So definitely not a demanding talk. I think we'll go with encouragement, right? He feels the pressure lifted, apparently, for some reason. Whatever pressure we're talking about. Come on, close him down. Okay, that counts. I'm also happy with Owen's performances so far. This sounds reasonable. Newton. Well defended for now. Newton again. Maeve. Owen went for it, even though it was not needed. Burns free kick. For Gibson. Ah. Was offside, yeah. Roberts. Holt. Edwards. Ives. And there's nobody there to interrupt that counter-attack. I don't like that. Doherty. Ives. What a performance by Trainer. Holt. He's not a runner though. Tumulty. He is. Tumulty for Gibson. Gibson's pass. Trainer. Yeah. That volley was fine. But overall, we could have done a bit better. On the other hand, we were really efficient with the finishing most of the time in this game. So, no complaints. Seriously. That has to go down as an error in communication. There was no need for the goalkeeper to come out. And Griffiths now is to blame. No, definitely not. That's Martinez as well as Owen's fault. Roberts. Tumulty just plays a possession pass, this is fine. Griffiths with the long ball again. Martinez. Burn. Ball picked up by Tumulty. Not a bad choice, but I think this was offside, was it? Yes, it was. Who gave him that goal on a silver platter? Craven. Roberts. Hughes. Doherty for a corner. 5 minutes to go. I think we can substitute some of those now. Maybe not the goalkeepers though. But Flynn Murray can come on, why not? Let's bring Sam Jones. Because Martinez apparently is somewhere else in his head. I like that. I very much like that. Yeah, the body language says professional. That's good to me. Luca Latona is complacent. That's not great. So let's undo that. He will not come on. Gary Moody can come on, sure, for Martin. Ryan Gibson is complacent anyway, so we might put on anyone here. Holt was subbed on. Terry Cobb can be on the pitch for trainer. Tumulty. I guess Mohamed Toker it is. And then there's Mickey Lewis left. Sure. So Mickey Lewis plays as a Metzala today. Why not? The rest of them, that's fine. Actually, we can play Cole Gibbings out here. For the Hurdy. Why not? He's okay. That's good for most of them. And I forget about Cole Gibbings, but Cole Gibbings needs a more demanding talk. He's ambitious after all. Ives. Well claimed by Owen. Burn doesn't pick the killer ball this time. Cop. Burn again. Will he pick the killer ball now? At least it seems like it. Lewis. Skips past his man. Maybe we should play Mickey Lewis as a Metzala. Apparently he likes those. Second friendly, second goal by Mickey Lewis. He just skipped past his marker. Wow. I guess he wants to play. Bolt. Then Murray again. With the cross for Reese. Picked up by Cobb. With a cross for Holt. We make it 5. We're playing friendlies against a future, well, this time against a future league opponent. Slight mismatch between Holt and whoever that was out there with Craven. Yeah, well. I guess the name was well reflected, given that he didn't try to jump. That should be the game, though. It's done. Yeah. Expected goals wise, this is not deserved by any stretch of the imagination. Efficiency wise, I'm quite happy with this. That's fine. And now we will get devastated by Newport County, so I guess complacency will not be a thing later on in the cup. Really quite impressive. Team cohesion didn't move much though. He's unhappy. That's just about preseason training being started too early. Can we find a replacement for this guy? He's also wanted by Amonford. I'm not sure if I want to keep him actually. His skill set looks good, but as a personality... I'm not trying to force the issue, but maybe... we have a good replacement there. He doesn't seem that fast. Good tackler, good aggression. Yeah, that would be a choice. Sure. And then there's James Callaghan. James Callaghan is... we can basically play Roberts in these circumstances. But this guy would probably do. Or we play Adair. In case Flynn Murray leaves. Well, 10 goals scored in 2 friendlies. I think we can be happy with that. There's probably not a better circumstance to wrap up the stream. We did this for an additional 3 hours today. Played 2 friendlies. Scored 10 goals. Next time out, there will be Newport. And then afterwards, maybe we will actually do the first... that's not a league game. The cup game. We will start into the season. Like, officially. But for now, that's enough. I wish you all a nice evening. Tomorrow is some sort of national holiday in Germany. but we have friends over. So the evening stream will not happen. I might do additional streaming in the morning, depending on how it goes. Otherwise, tomorrow might be a break. Yeah, so you've been informed. Anyway, thanks for watching, and see you all next time.